Taraji P. Henson and Sam Rockwell team up in the most unlikely of pairings in the best of enemies. The story has potential, but how does it play out? This is the true story of Ann Atwood and C.P. Ellis, two opposing forces in 1971's Durham, North Carolina, and it's based on a true story. Henson plays Atwood, who is an advocate for the African American community. Whoa, she is a force to be reckoned with. I mean, you do not want to mess with this woman. She is loud, she is driven, she is determined, and she does not put up with crap. Rockwell plays Ellis, who is the president of the local chapter of the KKK in Durham. Now, he is also powerful and just influential in his own community. A fire breaks out at the school where all of the African American students go, and that means that they now are without a school building and they have to go someplace else. The only other option is the school where all of the white kids go. And as you can tell, in 1971, Durham, which is in North Carolina but still the South, I mean, that is causing a lot of issues. All the white people don't want that. They do not want the black children to go to their school. The city council can't make a decision, and when it's brought forth to them of whether or not to allow the black students to attend the white students' school. In an effort to not have some huge legal battle and a lawsuit, a judge says, you know what, we're going to impose this thing called a charrette, which is basically a meeting. And it's where you get two sides of the group and they come together and hopefully they make a compromise. But what happens is whatever they decide and whatever is voted on, that's it. It's kind of like arbitration. They hire this man to run the charrette, to put it on, and he appoints Rockwell and Henson as the two co-chairs. They're the ones that are going to lead the entire group that has to make this decision that is then going to be voted on. Henson is so powerful in her role. I mean, she emotes so much with just her eyes or just her face. It's crazy without even having to open her mouth. Now, earlier in 2019, she was in a movie called What Men Want, and I had said that I didn't like her in that because I thought her potential was completely wasted. I didn't think that story, that movie, was deserving of her as an actress. In The Best of Enemies, we have a movie that is worthy of Henson's talent, and she brings it. I mean, there are moments where the camera just shifts on her, and you see horror or shock or sadness, and she doesn't say anything. And you feel what she's feeling because she's just that good at just portraying her emotions through her eyes. And so powerful. I loved her in this. And Rockwell has also some of those exact same types of moments. Now, he is a despicable character just because he's the president of the KKK, so he's already representing something terrible. But what ends up happening is you kind of feel sympathy for him sometimes. And there are moments where he feels terror or he feels just this unknowingness of what's going to happen, and you feel it. I mean, you feel the dread, you feel the unease, everything that he's going through, you feel also, and you see it in his face, and he does such a good job also. Now, this is not all a heavy-handed story. I mean, there is some humor in it to balance it out. One thing that struck me that I really liked is how alike the characters actually were, despite being polar opposite in their views. I mean, they are both fiery, they are both opinionated, they both have a lot of power and influence over their respective communities, and they both wholeheartedly believe what they're saying. A powerful comment came to both characters at different parts in the film, and it was basically, what are you gonna fight, or who are you gonna fight when there's nothing left to fight? Ooh, it struck each character just right to the heart, because it was really reaching at how both of them were wrong, or both of them were just stubborn, or not listening and not willing to see what was actually happening. Now, despite being totally sucked into the story and really liking it, the movie itself felt a little long. Now, I don't totally know where I would cut it, because what I really enjoyed were some of these really long shots that just took their time to come around, and then you go from behind and then you see the character's face and you see how their emotions are being affected, or you follow them in. And not to the degree so much as in If Beale Street Could Talk. Those, I think, went on for too long and there was way too many of them. But in this one, in The Best of Enemies, it did have some long shots. Now maybe those could be trimmed down, maybe they could be cut out completely, or just, I don't know, done a different way. I don't know exactly what I would cut, so that's totally unhelpful, but it really did feel a little long. I began to feel the time. If you see this, you're definitely going to want to stay through the credits because we get footage of the real Ann Atwood and C.P. Ellis. There's no sex or nudity or really any violence, but there is profanity. I give The Best of Enemies 4.5 out of 5 couches. What is your favorite Taraji Henson or Sam Rockwell performance? Well, I'd love to know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.